It's one of those ones where I love how it sounds, but I don't always catch what they're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. It's just
Um,
it's this noise, isn't it? Which is pleasant,
yeah, but
snarling.
it's also really, snarling. That's perfect. Attitudinal. Like I love that grit to it, but I'm like, I'll be damned if I'm catching more than like 50% of what is being said here. Uh, Hey, everybody out there in the YouTube sphere. I hope we're doing well today. It is another episode of the Audiophiles. I'm Andy. That's John over there. And John is going to be offering up a tune for me to go listen to, provide my reaction of, and then we're going to discuss it in detail. In order to get started on that, John, I'm going to need to know what you've got in store today.
So we are going to a band, which we have covered before, but I don't think we've done it on this channel. We definitely did on Into the Music, and that band is Wire.
Okay.
Um, they also provide the first 4 seconds of our theme tune, which is then spliced into the other version. So yeah, I thought I'd give you another flavour of Wire. We've talked about them quite a bit in various references and stuff, and they're a huge career, and there's very different styles, and you've had a more sort of trippy, weird, gentle version with
Okay.
Bingo Kidneys, and so this one is called Too Late.
All right. So I'm going to assume, judging by the way you kind of just build that there, that this is going to be something maybe a little bit divergent from what I've heard from them. One,
Perhaps.
every time I friggin' edit one of these videos, as well as the track that we did way back on Into the Music. So I'm intrigued by this, John. Um, yeah, let me go off before it gets too late and give this a listen, and I will come back and let you all know what I made of it. All right. Yeah, we kick things off with this really like forward distorted chord progression. This rollicking drums and bass. A lot of kinetic energy going on in this tune. Very punkish, especially when there's that vocal delivery even like just screamed punk to me. So yeah, like what I hear so far. Let's see what we've got in store for us. Like that. All right. Yeah. I loved how that was like increasing in energy and the drums are beating with the two, two, two. Yeah, this song has got gobs of energy and I'm definitely here for it. Let's take that back. I want to kind of relive that sort of breaking down of the lyrics while building up of the energy. That was cool. guitar. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. So choppy. There's almost this call and response with the strum patterns where it's like you hear it in this speaker and then you hear it in this one and it's like I just love it. It's not, I mean, it isn't anything wildly difficult or outside the box, but it's just got energy and the song kind of gives you life. Doing this again. Like bending. Well, that was a shot of energy, kind of like the musical equivalent to a shot of espresso, kind of ooh. Good stuff. Nothing super complex. One could even say simple, but very good nonetheless. I mean, they were going for something and they achieved it. The energy of the drums is great. It's kind of interesting that they kind of dialed it back toward the end and let the guitar shine, which was another really great aspect of this song. Kind of the frictious nature of all the strum patterns going on, and then like sort of just ping ponging around my head via the headphones. Yeah, hella good energy. Um, from the moment go, it basically brought that. I love the kind of breakdowns of the chorus that I think they did like twice, right? Like the first time, then they went on this like bit of an instrumental run. Um, with that really great, rhythm guitar stuff happening, and then bringing it back to that as well. Which it was so good the first time. So nice they did it twice, as they say. So yeah, I really like that. I didn't catch much of the lyrics. It was kind of that. I mean, it was fast pace. They weren't super forward in the mix, and it was that kind of like super Brit punk kind of delivery that sometimes I can't keep up with if I'm being completely honest. These poor Yankee ears. But no, I really really loved just all the energy behind this and a lot of the rhythmic aspects of the guitar as well as the drums and the bass. So yeah, this was really really good stuff. And I'd love to learn more. So let's get back to John and do just that.
David St. Hubbins is back. So you've got to listen to Too Late by Wire, What maketh thou ofest?
Yeah, I enjoyed this track a lot. It definitely had like tons of attitude. This track did, and an attitude that I would describe as punk-ish. So yeah, yeah, not what I was expecting. To be this
Hmm.
punk forward, if you will, if that's a phrase I could use or coin. But yeah, really, really nice distorted chord progression to start things off. And in come the drums, and it's just a rollicking good time. A rollicking good punk time. And the song has like all of this kinetic energy going on. Those drums are really unrelenting for 90% of the track. More on that later. But I really did enjoy the punk style of vocals that soon came in. But I'm having a classic bit of that. That I think we've run into this with like the Clash in the past, where
Yeah.
it's
I
so
was
Brit
thinking this,
punk.
no
Yeah.
chance. Absolutely no chance.
Yeah, it's so Brit punk that like it's hard for me to. It's one of those ones where I love how it sounds, but I don't always catch what they're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. It's just
Um,
it's this noise, isn't it? Which is pleasant,
yeah, yeah, but
snarling.
it's also really snarling. That's perfect. Attitudinal. Like I love that grit to it, but I'm like, I'll be damned if I'm catching more than like 50% of what is being said here. But it does sound like he's describing like perhaps a relationship or something. There's this reference to a female character throughout this. Um, so that's as best as I can get. And this constantly questioning of whether it's too late, like almost like too late to get out of this thing or something to that effect. So there is a portion around the minute and a half mark where the vocalist keeps repeating that refrain of, um, is it too late to change my mind? Which kind of devolves as the music grows in fervor to the point where you just get him going two, 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 and the drums are like pounding,
Yeah.
just pummeling the skins as he's saying that. I love that. You know what I mean? It's nothing I haven't heard before, but every time I do, I'm like, yeah, that's attitude. I dig that. So yeah, it really scratched that itch for me. We were treated this like extended instrumental portion thereafter, during which there is this stellar choppy guitar that like keeps pounding away at the chords like it's just chopping down a tree. And I love that it's got this biting tone to it. I love how it's like, bouncing in and out of speaker on either side.
I was picturing you just going
Yeah,
as you're
yeah,
listening to
yeah. Almost like yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that going on. So that around it's like you were there. It's around the
it.
2:14 mark. The singer rejoins the mix and delivers that refrain from earlier. Is it too late to change my mind? And again, from here, his vocals devolve as the title kind of the title that he's quoting ramps up. His delivery is increased, and it's bordering on like screaming at this point, the way he's like emoting these lyrics. Um, and they take the song into yet another instrumental bit, and this portion, maybe around like the 3:15 mark, I start to hear this really interesting kind of like bend to the guitar almost like it just kind of has this like whine to it a little bit, which
Mm.
is a little bit different from what I heard the last time they kind of did this instrumental portion after the chorus kind of erupts. Um, really loved this. The just the overall rhythm of the song. We've done a few of these in the past where I'm like, just the way the rhythms work. There's not a lot of melody to this. Like maybe his voice in certain parts carry it, but it's all about the drive and the movement. Whether it's those choppy guitar chords or this fervent drum and bass line that's going on throughout it, but really it isn't there isn't a whole lot to say other than it's musically simple, but it's also musically energetic and musically attitudinal, so much that my headphones could have easily doubled as defibrillator paddles, like the way it was like like they're bringing me back to life. Definitely one of those, I've used this phrase before, but like shot of espresso in the form of music where it just kind of like wakes you up and opens your eyes a little bit. Um, so sometimes, like especially punk, it's best to keep it simple and focus on the attitude and the energy, and again the rhythms without focusing too much on melody. And I think this tune does that. It's like a perfect example of that. Um, I'm not certain. Like one thing I will say that I'll is always weird for me whenever I hear it, but and you can correct me and be like, oh, it's not about like a love interest or anything like that. But whenever someone refers to a woman as sister when it is about a relationship, always it weirds me out a little bit. So I'm not certain who the object is or if it's a love interest, but yeah, I would steer away from the sister references. That's just me. But aside from that, minor kind of joking observation, I really did dig this tune and the energy that it had, and kind of this like almost back to basics punk element. Well, also like I'll say back to basics, but during that instrumental part, they showed a little bit of craft work
Yeah.
in the chords and how they were produced and mixed and the way they bounced around the listener's ear, especially if you're listening to it on a headset like I was, where it was just so yeah, really, really good song, fun song, love the energy, and like little peek behind the curtain. But when John and I get together, we often record a few episodes at a time. And for this to be the starter, sort of this like lightning bolt amuse bouche that you've offered is an excellent start. You know what I mean? It's a good way to start things off. And yeah, excellent choice, man. Dug it.
Yeah, I thought it'd wake you up. Um, yeah, the reason I picked this was because I think we've talked about Wire, and I talk about Wire every now and then, and I absolutely adore them. And they have a long and varied career, and they've gone down different paths. But they did start as a punk band, and it's quite easy to forget that. The first three albums they did is just amazing. The first album, Pink Flag, is incredible, but so many of the songs on there are about 1 minute 35. So it's not really great for a reaction. This is from the second album. It's a closing track from their second album, Chairs Missing. Um, and this one has that element of punk from the first album, but it's not a straightforward F bar, and just,
Okay.
it's all spit and snarl. There's a bit more to it, which we'll go into. So as I said, this from their second album, Chairs Missing, 1978. The album peaked at the dizzy heights of number 48 in the UK album charts, which is quite amazing for a band like that at this time. So we have talked about Wire before. What I'll do is, yeah, I'll put in the link to into the music, and you see young and innocent we looked back then. And but I'll talk about the band a bit in that, so there's some background. Personnel: Colin Newman, vocals, guitar; Bruce Gilbert, guitar; Graham Lewis, bass, backing vocals, and the original sleeve design. And Robert Gotobed, also known as Robert Gray, drums and percussion. So after they'd done this sort of minimalist punk classic, Pink Flag, this album contains much more developed songs. This song isn't a great example of that, but I just love the ballsy energy of it. So that's where you got it. So they have got sort of keyboard synthesizer, which has been complete anathema to punk. But they were brought in by the producer, a guy called Mike Thorne. And it's just a broader palette of, content, emotion, and intellectual subject matter. Um, the title Chairs Missing is said to be British slang for a mildly disturbed person, as in that guy's got a few chairs missing in his front room. Few sandwiches short of a picnic, that sort of expression. Um, from the album, there was a single called Outdoor Miner, which I was going to give to you, and it's a very pretty song and complete opposite of this. And I will probably give it to you at some point. It was a minor hit, and it peaked at number 51 in the UK singles charts. So, as I mentioned before, these three albums, the first three albums brought out, were just seminal. In 1979, Trouser Press Review, they said, "Why are disconcerting, laconic yet eloquent in fragmented visions, jarring even in their most accessible. They disdain cliche, pushing out the limits of rock. The easy way is too boring. Their stripped down rhythms take on the quality of being familiar, yet somehow alien. Just as their bleak lyrics lift the everyday from its context and illuminate the ironies, you have to listen for yourself." Um, and in a sort of retrospective review from AllMusic, they said the arty darkness of Chairs Missing, combined with the often icy sounding synth stroke guitar arrangements, helps make the record a crucial landmark in the evolution of punk into post-punk and goth, as well as a testament to Wire's rapid development and inventiveness. Um, just to try and give you a flavour of the album, this isn't necessarily a great sort of example of the album overall.
Sounds
Um,
like
and there's a really good bit in Julian Cope's got his own website called Head Heritage, which had various contributors. It's an
wow.
excellent website in terms of reference to music, particularly krautrock, but other stuff as well. And the guy on this said, if I was forced at gunpoint to pick one overall favourite, I reckon Too Late would get my vote as the finest song ever to emerge from the British post-punk era. Just about every ingredient which made the years 1978 to 81 so vital in the history of Brit underground music is contained here. Clanging, fuzzed out guitars, rigid drum beats, which managed to be both metronomically accurate and poundingly aggressive at the same time, a melody with enough hooks to rival Buzzcocks or even the undertones, droning, atonal keyboard patterns, and a screaming finale that leaves a listener as an exhausted, ravished, and dirtied as one should feel after having great sex. The mix is so deliberately erratic during the song's final minute that it sounds as though the members of the Wire are literally battling in the studio to drown each other out and attain prominence. Brackets, an idea probably borrowed from the Velvet Underground's Sister Ray, and I think there is some similarity to that sort of last bit. In 2004, Pitchfork listed Chairs Missing as the 33rd best album of the 70s, and in 2013, Enemy listed the album as the 349th greatest album of all time. So, the lyrics. Oh, you should miss her. She says she's my sister. She's never hard to find. She's tender trusting. She's everlasting. Can I change my mind? Is it too late to change my mind? Mirror, mirror, icy sister, love is never blind. She's slowly turning, mouth gently burning. Can I change my mind? Is it too late to change my mind? She pisses icy water on poetic mornings. Gotta be cruel to be kind. Is this real life? Is this for life? Can I change my mind? Is it too late to 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 change my settling? Is it too late to change my mind? Is it too late to change my mind? Is it too late? Too late, 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 too late. And it goes on like that. And then it comes back in slowly. Is it too late to change my mind? 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 Is it too late? 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 Too late, 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 and back into the droning guitars, which then carry us onwards and upwards. So yeah, I would say the first three. Oh, sorry about this song. Uh, I wonder if they're talking about some sort of creative substance. There's no really evidence that Wyatt dabbled in that, but I'm just wondering if this sister is some sort of outside influence, hence the sort of icy pissing poetic mornings and stuff like that, and burning mouth and all that. Is, oh shit, I've taken it now. Is it too late?
Yeah.
I'm thinking twice about it. I'm not. I wonder. It just might be about someone they don't like, but there you go. Um, the first three Wire albums definitely inspired countless British bands, particularly in the post-punk era. They have changed their sound and their approach over the years and the 18 studio albums they've done. And they've even reinvented versions of previous songs and put them out again. And one comment my mate Rob said to me about them that's always stuck with me is he said, above all, Wire are artists and everything they do is to create art. And they do that with their music, but also with their videos, with their packaging. They've done film work as well and written books. And so, yeah, I mean, they really are artists. And they had that famously a manifesto about what they would and wouldn't do. And one of the things they would never do is a guitar solo. That was against the rules. But droning on for 2 minutes, and guitar battling is fine. So yeah, as I said, I picked this song because it shows some of their punk roots, but also how they did stuff and continue to do stuff is always slightly different to everyone else. There wasn't really another punk band doing this kind of stuff. It was much simpler in '78. Clash went off and did their own thing, obviously, and then Pale and others. But yeah, but I just think this is a ballsy rocking number with a lovely, lovely slice of chaos all the way through it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's an apt
and as
description.
you rightly said, attitude, is there in sackfuls. So
Yeah.
yeah, not a particularly complicated song, but can you imagine, this hits the floor, people would go batshit crazy, in a club or whatever, or gig. This would just be the end of the evening. There'd be nothing
Like
left.
a really interesting glimpse into like sort of the how music at the time was kind of spreading its wings from one thing to
Big
become
time.
another. And this is like sort
Yeah.
of in the middle of the displaying of the wings. They haven't fully elongated to all the crazy
Yeah.
stuff that would come with what music can do with like in shoegaze or fully post punk or any of that stuff. But it is showing like coming out of its confines, like because those two instrumental bits where he gets really rhythmic with the lyrics and the drums,
Mm.
and it opens up and they do all this kind of fun stuff. It's not so directly black and white punk. There is this where they're starting to have fun and experiment a little bit with the noise that they're creating. And
Yeah.
that's really interesting to see this little like time capsule, this little snippet in time and knowing now what comes after and what came before is really cool. It's like a little glimpse in a timeline.
You get these little small periods of huge change. 66, 67 is a real big one as well. And I think 78 is a really key time in terms of what came after it,
Which kind of makes
which
sense
makes
because
it,
it's like about a decade, every decade
yeah.
or so, there's like this change, or right,
Yeah,
so
I guess then you hit 89 would be a good year in terms of music changing as well, and then
yeah, because that's
nothing
sort of
after
like around when
that.
grunge was getting its feet. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
At some
yeah.
point, it slows down this these changes, but for a good 30 or 40 years, that was
Yeah.
definitely the case. Whether you liked what happened or not, you could definitely say that's different than what came before. But yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because prior to that sort of rock and roll, 56, 57.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
moved away from like after the weird murkiness of what's happening, and this is probably more here than there, but the murkiness of what's going to happen after grunge, because all we got was post grunge, which is really just commercial grunge.
Yeah.
Then became sort of this new metal, rap metal era, where again, you don't have to like it. That's not the point of what I'm saying.
It's
I'm
definitely
saying
something new.
it's definitely different from what came before it.
Yeah.
And you're right. Yeah, I think there's probably at least for 40 years a 10-year rule on things
Mm,
changing and developing, right? So interesting
interesting.
stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I should wrap things up. Thanks, listener Sandy.
Yep.
Folks out there, tell us what you think. What do you reckon to this song? This album's an absolute banger, classic about Wire as well. You can drop some. I'm probably going to give Andy Outdoor Miner single version with the people who know what I'm talking about. But yeah, any other songs you want to recommend, please drop them. I'd love to hear from you, and I will consider them. Um, Please hit the like button if you like this, obviously. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And more meaty goodness can come your way. That being said, thanks again so much for watching. I will see all of you in the next episode of The Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.